Hello, Dr. Katsuko Saruhashi. Hope you're doing well, and thank you for joining us in this interview. I am the acting dean of Dhanani School of Science and Engineering at Habib University. Today, we are going to interview you and ask you a few questions. So, looking forward to the interview.
Hello, I am Mohammad Hashim Memon, Assistant Professor of DSSE in Applied Sciences. If you allow us, can we please start the interview?
Yes, I am ready.
So, would you like to please tell us something about yourself and your educational background?
Okay, so as you already know, my name is Katsuko Saruhashi. I was born in 1920 in Tokyo, Japan. I used to be a shy and introverted young girl, but grew up very curious. About my education, I graduated from Imperial Women's College of Science, also known as Toho University. I was the first woman to earn a doctorate in chemistry from University of Tokyo in 1957.
Okay, great. So, moving ahead, would you tell us something more about your work and what does your research mainly focus on?
Okay, so I developed the new method to measure the acidity of the ocean, and I studied the carbon dioxide level in seawater at the time when literally no one was interested in it. I discovered that the Pacific Oceans release twice as much as carbon dioxide as they absorb. So that technically means that it cannot help us fight the climate change. Since there was no interest in this research at the time that I researched about it, I developed a new way of measuring carbon dioxide known as Saruhashi's table. I obviously named it after my name. This table, according to my knowledge, was used by oceanographers for approximately 3 decades until a new method was developed.
Okay, that's fascinating. So, being a researcher myself, I know that every research leads to something more of a research itself. So, did your initial research push you to find something more about oceans? If yes, then what was your motivation behind all of that?
Okay, so technically you can say that I was in the making of history. I witnessed World War II in my times with all its nasty events and political turns. And I witnessed the nuclear bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki along with Soviet Union's attacks, obviously. So this ignited my interest to further find the effects of these bombings on the world's atmosphere. My team and I discovered that radioactivity has reached the coast of Japan as US continued to unleash the radioactive torrent in the Pacific Oceans. And to be honest, US tested bigger and bigger bombs on the oceans. So according to my memory, as far as I can remember, by 1958, US had exploded around 60 explosive in the oceans. And these oceans were near Marshall Islands. So I worked at the Central Meteorological Observatory in Tokyo to develop more sensitive methods of measuring radioactive fallout.
Okay, that's great. So, Miss Saruhashi, what do you think all of the work that you have done? Do you think that has helped or impacted the world in any way?
Well, you'll be surprised to know how much my research has helped the world. So, coming back the radioactive fallout, when I studied the radioactive fallout in the ocean, I discovered that it has not distributed evenly in the ocean. So, say Japan's coast was more concentrated with radioactive cesium than US coast, right? So there was a controversy over my work that it might be wrong because people were just not ready to accept the fact that some countries are suffering more than other countries in this regard because obviously Japan coast has had more radioactive substance in it. So to end this controversy, US Atomic Energy Commission funded a lab swap and I had to leave my original workplace and went to Scripps Institute of Oceanography. There, I and oceanographer Ted Folsom compared the methods and discovered that my technique was correct. And both Folsom's research and my research proved that basically we both had identical results. And these results then brought the US and Soviet Union in an agreement to end above ground nuclear testing in 1963. So if you ask me, that is a huge step because two superpowers, I would say, came to an agreement to not exploit the oceans more.
Okay, Mr. Saruhashi, I must say that is quite an achievement itself. So over to Mr. Hashim Imam, Dean.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Saruhashi, for sharing your insight and your work experience with us. So my question to you would be, were you appreciated for the work you have done?
I was the first woman named to the Science Council of Japan, and also the first woman to receive Japan's Miyake Prize for geochemistry. So I think that appreciation would be enough to motivate other scientists as well.
Wow, that's quite a remarkable thing to achieve. Okay, so my next question to you would be that since you are an Asian woman, that is quite an intersectionality in itself. So I assume you might have faced challenges that are not usually faced by, say, white men as scientists. Are there any incidents that you would like to share?
Basically, that brings a lot of memories, flashbacks. But to cut it short, I faced many challenges as a woman in science. Despite having already produced significant work, I still faced discrimination at the University of Tokyo while studying for my PhD. One of the incidences I still remember how once my professor, he was very suspicious of my abilities, so he gave me a false sample to test. Um, and that did not end well, obviously. However, the worst was yet to come. So, after being invited by the US Atomic Energy Force, I was asked by Folsom, my US based counterpart, to commute to the institute every day. Instead, I was provided with a wooden hut to work in. Now, I do not complain much about these struggles that I went through. However, my colleagues were very angry at this act and they took it as racial discrimination.
Wow. Okay, so my last question to you would be that, do you think you have left a legacy for the upcoming generations?
Well, that's for you to decide. I've told you everything, but I think I have done my part by also creating a society of Japanese women scientists. And I also introduced a prize to be awarded annually to Japanese female scientists who made important contributions to science. So my motive was to highlight the capabilities of female scientists, obviously. And I also understand as a scientist myself that every artist and even scientist, everyone needs a pat on their back to, keep themselves motivated. So that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Saruhashi, for giving us your valuable time and the opportunity to interview you and to benefit from your information and your work experiences. So we will get back to you shortly after our selection process as it proceeds further. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much. Hello and welcome, Dr. Yasuo Miyake. I am Mohammad Hashim Memon, an assistant professor at Dhanani School of Science and Engineering, Habib University. So how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Might have been better if the world would have worked towards achieving peace across the borders, for I am a staunch believer of peace and have used science for the very same purpose. Anyways, please proceed with your questions.
I see. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, Dr. Miyake. So as you must know, we have approached you in regards to your student, Dr. Katsuko's selection as a faculty member at Habib University. So we would really appreciate if you can share your experience with Dr. Katsuko. How did you find her while working with you?
Of course, it has indeed been an honor for me to have a student like Katsuko. I take pride in my student Katsuko's achievements and contribution to the scientific world. And above all, I highly regard her for her socially responsible scientific endeavors. She was a brilliant learner in times like those when the scientific research was mainly dominated by males. She arose as an equally competent or even more competent and hardworking scientist than her male counterparts. She realized the importance of science in benefiting society as a whole. It is due to people like her that science is known to be a noble profession. Let me end by quoting one of her initial critics, Toshihiro Higuchi, who was a historian at Georgetown University and an expert on Cold War science. He said, and I quote, Katsuko was very conscious of the social responsibility of scientists in general. As her mentor, I could not ask for more than what she has contributed to the scientific community. And I strongly believe that there cannot be a more appropriate and better person than her for this position.
Okay, I think that will be it, Dr. Miyake. We will now proceed to a decision making. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate your valuable time.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor. Hello, Mr. Hashim. So I just had a chat with Miss Katsuko Saruhashi's mentor, and he was really confident about her. I think we should go with Miss Saruhashi as a lecturer for applied sciences at DSAC.
I'm glad to hear that because I agree with you, and I don't think that there could be any better candidate than Dr. Saruhashi. So let's call and inform her.
Sure, sir. Will do. Hello, Ms. Katsuko Saruhashi. I hope you're doing great. I am Mohammad Hashim from Habib University, calling you to inform you that you have been accepted as a faculty member. Yes, you can join us from coming week. Thank you very much.